Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and welcome to the Not So Cool Kombi. This turned into quite the disaster, as you can see, me destroying revision number one. So this is the second attempt at a cool Kombi, which is, if you know me, it is not my favorite casting, but I wanted to tackle something that I wasn't comfortable doing. And I figured I'd go big or go home, and I should have gone home. So that it kind of turned into quite the disaster. I abridged my mistake, and I'll be recording or showing you the recording of that here in a second. I'm actually happy with the way it came out, and I'm glad I decided to go at it again and not just give up completely. What I had this vision in my head, and it was close, but it was one of those things, and I believe in showing my mistakes, and I made a lot on this one. Every single piece that I worked on was a disaster. So the past 72 hours was literally a shit show. I started with this casting, excuse me, and I had a blown Chevy motor that I wanted to put in it. I wanted to stretch the wheelbase, and then I figured in order to get the motor to fit, I had to cut the back. And I figured, oh, cutting it on an angle would be cool, but then the motor wouldn't fit, so I had to notch out the top. You ever have a project that you just dig yourself a hole? That's pretty much what I did. Every single thing I touched, I had to redo. Once the innards of the Kool Kombi is pretty much solid casting with two posts, and you have to cut a lot of that out. It's a pain in the neck. So now I'm trying to custom make a chassis, attach it to the front half, trying to figure out how to hide the inside. Then I had to build the motor up. The height of the wheels wasn't right. I figured I'd use some epoxy putty and kind of make a differential. That turned out horrible. Using it to kind of blend in the styrene. Then if you notice, I have brass tubing with shocks and a 3D printed rear end. Then I needed a front spoiler because the existing spoiler was too low. Had to cut out the chassis. Then I needed this thing was just a nightmare. It just really was. And this is at the point where I gave up, and I get tired of doing everything 2, 3, 4 times, and it's still just not looking right. So what I decided to do was just start over. I had another Kool Kombi, and don't ask me why I have multiple castings of something I don't like. It just, you're in this hobby long enough, you end up getting stuff, and I just happen to have it. But I really liked the style of this one. When I say the style, I'm talking about the black paint with the yellow surf shop decals or tampos, whatever you want to call them. So what I decided to do was go a little bit different. I want to stretch the wheelbase. I don't end up using the axle that's there now that I'm showing you. I'm just kind of mocking things up. But I wanted to stretch it but not go crazy. So I'm using a ladder bars as an axle holder, and that just moved it just enough. And what I'm kind of doing is a little bit of both. What I wanted to do, and then a revised version that was more doable and not as frustrating. And I wanted to have fun after 3 days of just fighting this thing, or this thing fighting me. I wanted to just have fun. And again, nobody that builds diecast gets it right the first time, all the time. So I wanted to show that everything I did was junk, and not everything that you see on the videos always is perfect. The magic of editing, we can do quite a bit. But here I kind of filed down where the back wheels were, and I just covered the groove with styrene. I don't like the molded in surfboards, so I had a couple from another kit of something, and I figured I would put those in manually instead of having something molded in. And I'm glad I did that. It worked out much better, and it looks more natural than some pre-molded half a surfboard. I have all these little ferrules. I have bought 2 different kits, 2 different sizes. I never really used much out of this first kit. They're all too big. And then I ended up getting this one, and most of them are too small, but there's some right in the middle that work out pretty good. I do plan on using them on every build I possibly can to use them. So I got some sculpting wire, and what I'm doing is I'm going to make an exhaust. The old Volkswagens used to have what they call, I call it a Stinger exhaust, and it's, the pipes all go into one exhaust tube, and it looks kind of cool. So I drilled 4 holes in the back where the motor was, or is, and I put 4 individual tubes in, and then I put them into one of those ferrules as an exhaust tip. You can see right there. It came out really cool. I like it. So now we're at the phase where I'm going to be painting. I'm going to prime. I've got some silver that I want to do the rear wing. And you can see I started to detail the front. I got the headlights done in silver. I'm going to paint a little yellow, red, white on the, I just wanted to detail. The casting was good and the colors were good. I liked it, and I liked the color combo. I just wanted to enhance it a little bit. So I had scuffed up the rear deck and painted that with silver. I didn't clear coat it. I think it looked pretty, it kind of had that brushed aluminum look. I liked it. So I sanded down the 2 blue surfboards. I only used one anyways, but I painted them both yellow. I just thought it matched. And I got this Loctite tack stuff. It's like the 3M stuff you use to hang pictures. Works out really, really good for painting. And you can see I've got the screw on the chassis or the interior. It just comes right off. It's actually really, really cool. And gives you some flexibility, and it doesn't come off until you want it to come off, and it doesn't leave any residue. So, and then it's just a matter of painting. I've kind of gone away from the Citadel. If you watch a lot of my earlier videos, I still have them, and I do use them occasionally, but I've been using the game color sets. I just really like that, and I just actually ordered some Army Painter, the Fanatics paint kit. I'm waiting for that to come in. I think it gets released in February, some point. We're in February, so hopefully soon. I don't remember when, but. And then I thought it'd be kind of cool to do the front lip yellow. I had a 2019 Dodge Challenger wide body 392, and when I got it, it had the yellow spoiler guard on it, and that's like the first thing I ripped off when I got it home. But on this, I thought it looked kind of cool to emulate that, and then I painted the center pins yellow on the wheels just to tie everything in together, and I think it worked pretty cool. I'm actually real happy with the way this came out after such a horrible beginning. I mean, I literally wasted a week of my life on this Kombi. Not this one, but the other one that I threw in the trash. So, I'm glad that I didn't give up and just move on. I have 3 or 4 other castings on the bench that I'm working on. Plus, I got robots I'm building for a couple things and model kits. And it was very easy to just say, screw it, and walk away. But I wasn't going to let this stupid-ass Kombi beat me, so I figured I'd try it again. Here I'm just dry brushing a little bit of silver just to add a little detail. It's the little things sometimes that make a casting pop. And this made a big difference. I was real happy with it. But overall, the last thing was the fabric for the roof. And I was going to paint it flat black, but then I remembered when I scuffed up the paint to do the rear spoiler, it had a nice dull finish, and it was off color from the black. It was, still black, but it was like a really off color. So what I did is I just masked off that area, and I'm using a sanding sponge. I believe it's 600, just to kind of scuff it up, and it gave it that look that I was going for. So it actually worked out really, really well. You can see right there. I'm really happy with it. And believe it or not, I'm actually happy with the way this casting came out. And I say that very rarely. I mean, we're all our own worst critics. And if you compare ourselves to some of the guys that are out there, I mean, we're playing checkers, they're playing chess. So, but I got to not compare myself to anybody and just do what works for me. And I had fun with this. So This is kind of the pieces parts that I have. I mean, the front's on the ground. I mean, it's gonna kill ants. That's how low it is. But I had fun, and I also painted the inside of the exhaust tube yellow, again, just to tie it in. But if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe, like, all that crap. And this is the end result. Again, I'm really, really stoked on how this came out. See how I did that with the stoked dude on the surf shop? So anyways, I digress. But I'm real happy with the way this came out, and I hope you guys enjoy it and maybe learned something from my mistakes, and maybe this gives you some inspiration into doing something yourself. This is why I do these videos. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to inspire people to just start cutting stuff up, and whether you're doing paint or wheel swaps or whatever you're doing, or you want to get into customs, there's no wrong way to do anything. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.